Good afternoon. I call this meeting to order of the City of Frankfort Board of Commissioners February work session. It's 3 p.m. It's February 9th, and will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Richardson? Here. Commissioner May?
Here.
Commissioner Smith-Willis?
Here.
Mayor Wilkerson?
And present, and no ceremonial or recognition today. We do have citizens' comments, and I'll ask you to step to the podium, state your name, and reminder that we give you 5 minutes, and we'll give you a warning if you're getting close. So first, we have Marshall Jenkins. You want to come up? Thank you, Marshall, for being here.
Thank you. Marshall Jenkins, Executive Director for Capital City Activity Center Meals on Wheels Greater Frankfort, which is your senior center here for Frankfort and Franklin County. I just wanted to stop in for just a second to say a big thank you to the city, and I'm going to be saying this to the county as well this week, for the support shown to not only the senior center, but to seniors in our community during this extended winter activity that stayed with us for a very long time. Just a shout out to Sean Pickens and his staff. They came and helped us again this year by stepping up and delivering meals to seniors that we were not able to get to. You know, our meal drivers, for the most part, are seniors themselves, and even though they might have been able to maneuver driving on the roads, getting from the car to the front door was a whole other challenge, which I'm sure Sean and his staff can attest to that. So I just want to say thank you. It means a lot, and it's great to have the agencies help with this. The city can see what it takes to get those meals delivered to seniors, and so very thankful. Thankful to also the police and fire. They're always there to help us. Ray Kinney with emergency management. He and I are always lockstep when it comes to these types of emergency situations by keeping us informed what we need to do, what we need to look forward to. Just a shout out to my staff. We placed close to 1,800 phone calls to seniors during this event just to make sure they were okay, if they needed anything. We did have a few that needed some food boxes, a couple that needed heat source, and we had different individuals donate some space heaters and that type of thing, so we were able to give those out. A special thanks to Jennifer Hall. Her and I stay in really good communication for transportation. I value that very much. And then I have sent out emails and invitations inviting you to participate in March for Senior Nutrition Month, March for Meals. This is an opportunity for you to ride with meal drivers or deliver meals in our dining room. I know our folks look very forward to having you in attendance, and I hope you'll be able to join us. I've heard from several, and I'm excited to see that you're going to participate this year. Very excited. So that's it. I'm just here to say thank you. Appreciate the support.
And thank you, Marshall, for all you do. And does anyone have any follow-up on that? Commissioner Smith-Willis?
I just want to say thank you for reaching out and sending us those reminders about, just kind of tapping into our senior community. So I'm super excited to hang out with you all and just spend some time. But thank you for all that you do for our community. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Marshall. And I know we had a couple of people come in after we started. Did anyone else have a citizen's comment before we get started with the rest of the agenda?
Can I?
You can. Just come to the podium, state your name, and we give you 5 minutes.
It won't take 5 minutes, but I been reading all the articles about the building that you all just bought, the old YMCA building. My name is Pam Howe.
All right. Hi, Pam.
And this is good news, not all the bad postings that you've seen. I've been doing some research. I used to work for state government, and I have found a grant out there that it's for nonprofit or a tribal government or local government for $500,000. And it's for asbestos removal or demolish of a building. Are you all aware of that? You are? Okay. I would have thought they might have mentioned it to maybe break the blow to everything that's been going on with the building, because a lot of people, do you know if John Gray has done an asbestos and
I've
hazardous?
asked the city manager
Yeah.
on that.
Do you want to, well, they have had that, I think, done years before, but I won't speak too much to the private building owners' actions with that. But the city is in the middle of completing a phase one environmental study to make sure that there isn't anything that's.
Okay, so we're gonna do a new one, even if there's one that exists.
Yes, we have to before we take ownership.
Okay. Well, I had saw this and I thought, well, I'm gonna bring it down here and bring to your attention. I figured you all probably had, because that's quite a bit of money that would help. And I don't know, those bricks, I mean, they're probably all asbestos.
Well, we actually, and I think even our press release, one of the things that we can do now for the building is pursue some grants that are available to us once we own the building. So
Did you all discover if it was needed, I mean, for this bridge?
The,
I mean, the building itself was needed to be purchased for the bridge, or could it have been built without the bridge? Could the bridge been built without the building being purchased?
I don't know, I don't know if that'd be known. I don't
I don't know if we can
Yeah, we can't
speculate on
speak to
that.
that. That'd be,
we still haven't completed the purchase for the building, so.
Was the settlement of $100,000, was it based upon a settlement from a lawsuit back in 2016?
I don't think we're,
That was definitely
yeah.
part of it, but yeah, at this point, we usually don't.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I basically just came to tell you all about this.
Yes.
And I figured you all probably had already researched it, but since I was up here, I thought I'd kill a curiosity, because I did go down to the courthouse and try to pull the record, and
Yes.
apparently it got destroyed, according to staff, in the flood, and it's been sent off to be cleaned, so that's why I thought I'd take the opportunity to do that, so.
thank you.
I can assure you that we have spent years going over our options and preparing for this.
Yeah, I figured as much. I worked for the state and the budget and stuff, so I figured you all knew, but I thought, I'm gonna print it out real quick and see, and bring it down here to you. I really had no intention on asking the other questions, but thank you for your time.
And thank you.
Ms. Pam.
And come to the podium.
Hello, everybody. I'm Aaron Ashcraft, citizen of Frankfort. Came down here today just with great interest in the riverfront development you guys are talking about. Read in the paper and through some of the things that it was going to be basically from Buffalo Trace to Capitol View Park, which I'm really ecstatic to hear. I believe Capitol View Park is one of our greatest assets. I don't know if you guys know this or not. In comparison to Riverview Park and Capitol View Park, there's roughly around 500 more yards of riverfront in Capitol View Park. Capitol View Park has always been a special interest of mine. Some of you guys already know, but I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to put together with that. So I come down here to give you guys some of my time and look at your pretty faces. So anyway, if y'all have any questions, yeah, for me, shoot away, but I'll be following along with this pretty closely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Okay, we'll move on to staff reports.
first in staff reports, we have special projects, the Frankfort Civic Proud America 250 celebration.
Hello. So this is exciting. We are here to officially debut the city's year-long commemoration of the America 250 celebration. This is something that the Special Projects Department, so myself, our grants manager, Rebecca Hall, our community engagement specialist, Maddie Buckler, and several community partners, other staff members, we have spent the past year putting this together, ready to roll out in 2026. And we have a lot of programming that's going to take us through this entire year that we are excited about. So there are three main components of the city's America 250 celebration: a new civic engagement platform, an original video and song, and a celebratory event. So the focus, the primary focus of all of these aspects of the city's America 250 programming is one of the tenets of the National America 250 program, entitled We the People. This theme, which is the theme we are adopting for our Frankfort Civic Engagement Program, is designed to inspire and motivate residents to take an active role in their own community, state, and local government. And as the state capital, we know that we have a long history of civic engagement across all levels of government. And so this project is really going to serve to encourage civic participation, empower individuals to participate in local discussions, to attend public meetings, and to advocate for policies that affect their everyday lives. So our first major component of this is our new Frankfort Rocks Civic Engagement Platform. This is run through the city's, frankly speaking, public engagement hub that we use for like engagement and public participation projects. And we have actually built our own engagement site through this platform just to capture this entire project. So this is going to give you just a screen tour of what this looks like on the mobile site. So you can access this online via your desktop computer, your mobile phone. Here you can see that we are focusing on 6 main components of civic engagement. So every 2 months, we will roll out a new theme, and then we will have programming that will correspond to that. The themes are Frankfort Rocks, which is a celebration of our community. Call City Hall, which focuses on making local government more accessible and transparent. A State Capitol, which looks at Frankfort's unique role as the hub of state government. Where the Money Goes, which is a deep dive into the city's budgeting process. I'm Just a Bill in City Hall, which breaks down the city's policy process and citizen participation, and Vote, which will educate about the different roles within local government and how elections work in our community. Each of these will have interactive components such as videos, specific documents, social media campaigns, and civic challenges. Also throughout the year, there's our bingo card that's going to tie all these activities together. We will have 4 community town hall events that will be spread throughout areas of our town. Our bingo participation challenge that you just saw. We're going to do monthly policy recaps for boards and commissions that meet within the city. And we're going to have other engaging resources that will help people feel more comfortable participating in local government. This platform is all ADA accessible, and we also have a Spanish language version of it as well. You can sign up on this platform for email alerts so that you're notified as soon as we release new activities and projects on the platform. So a central component of this whole theme right here is something that we're really excited to officially debut for the first time publicly. We have received America 250 Kentucky funding from the Kentucky Historical Society to produce an original song and video loosely modeled after the nostalgic Schoolhouse Rock series. We have worked with a team of artists, so this is completely an artist-driven process. Joanna and I joke, I called her back in the summer last year and said, hey, what if we do this? And she was silent for a little bit because it was a really unique perspective for a project. So working with Joanna Hay is the main producer of this project with original illustrations by Rocco Casuli, who's an Italian animation artist who actually has worked on other community programs such as the Just Say Yes prevention program. And then local singer-songwriter Jerry Catherine Howell, who's also here with us tonight, is the author of the Civic Proud song that is part of this video. Jerry spent a lot of time interviewing residents, interviewing city staff, interviewing some of you sitting up here today to capture the essence of what it means to be civic proud here in Frankfort. So we are now going to debut this video for you guys.
Benson Creek to the Kentucky, we flow together in the capital city, shaping Frankfort generations to come. Speak up, reach out from your neighbor to City Hall. From your neighbor to City Hall. To make change it takes all of us. The commissioners and mayor are there because we vote. With the city manager, they run this town. Pick up trash, fix the road. Serving people is what it's about. Serving people is what it's all about. So come to a meeting, make a comment. Your story could help the commission pass an ordinance that makes a change right here, right now. It's how we work together and be Frankfort civic proud. Frankfort civic proud. When you have an idea, a question or problem, give someone at the city a call. Local government needs your voice. We all have the power. How we use it is a choice. How we use it's a choice. Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out. From your neighbor to City Hall. Reach out, go vote, show out. Serving people is what it's all about. Reach out, go vote, show out. Frankfort civic proud. Speak up, reach out, go vote, show out.
So this is our very own version of Schoolhouse Rock for our civic engagement program for 2026. Again, this was funded by America 250 Kentucky funding. And we really want to thank Joanna and Jerry and Rocco for putting this all together and actually making this something that we hope the rest of the community will feel a lot of pride in and be very proud of as well. You will see this video, again, debuting throughout each of these civic engagement themes, and will kind of be used to lead into that programming. We have geared all of this programming towards the general population. We are working with the Capital City Museum to do youth-specific programming over the summer and working on opportunities to engage some of our local high school students into the fall as well. Our final component of our America 250 celebration is a special Independence Day event that the city will be hosting. This program is being put on by a grant that the city received. We actually started this process in 2024 and applied for funds from the National Endowment for the Arts for their America 250 programming. We were awarded those funds last year, and the city's grant partners are Liberty Hall and Downtown Frankfort, Inc. So we have put together Liberty Holler, which is an America 250 music festival. The event is going to be held on Friday, July 3rd, which is the observed day for the Independence Day holiday this year. And it's going to be used as the kickoff event for a full weekend of America 250 activities and programs here in the capital city. The host site is going to be Liberty Hall and the city's Riverview Park, Ward Oats Amphitheater. And we're going to use this as a way to celebrate the history and founding of Frankfort, the establishment of Frankfort as Kentucky's capital, the importance of the Commonwealth, and where all of that fits within the broader United States. We're going to have local music. We have an artist lineup that we're going to debut in just a minute, regional and local bands. We are going to have local artisans. We're going to have speakers on different aspects of Frankfort's founding. We're partnering with Quilts of Valor, the VFW, and our local Veterans Resource Center to create a well-rounded event for our community. So the official lineup for the Liberty Holler Music Festival, our headlining act on our regional stage is going to be Cole Chaney with the local Honeys and Hancock and Shouse. Our local stage at Ward Oats Amphitheater is going to feature Mashgrass, Jerry, Catherine, and Nat, and Violet and the Newsroom. And all three of those are local to the Frankfort community artists. So save the date now, Friday, July 3rd, and we're going to be publishing an event. This is going to be free and open to the entire community. We're also working with regional partners. And again, National Endowment for the Arts is the funder for this program. So this is our official America 250 on behalf of the City of Frankfort year-long programming. We started a soft launch in January, and now here it is for your debut first, and we're excited for all that this project is going to bring for the next year. So I'm happy to take questions, Rebecca or Maddie, Joanna or Jerry.
Commissioner May?
Just a big thank you to everyone that got this together. For me personally, and I'm not a PhD, so I'm not qualified to make this statement, but I think it's very difficult to tell about your culture, your history, and where you're from without the arts.
Yeah.
Arguably, you kind of have to have them to maintain that and to continue to pass it on from generation to generation. So I think you're doing a lot here. You're not just getting us involved. You're hitting that note that is important and unique to Frankfort, which is that historical note and our unique culture. And I love the lyrics in the song where you tell people to get engaged.
Yep.
You transfer it into your music. And sitting on this side of it, I would say the biggest shocker for me that I learned about the community was sometimes people don't know how to get involved when they want to get involved.
Yep,
And this is
absolutely.
going to be a great bridge for that. So thank you all very much.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
looking
you.
forward to seeing its success.
Thanks.
Commissioner?
I also just wanted to say thank you. I'm gonna let everybody know. I saw it. I got a sneak peek. I cried a little bit because sometimes when you be on this side, like Commissioner May said, you really don't know what all goes into a job like this. But then also sometimes it feels super heavy. So to be able to see this and to be able to, my kid's definitely going to be involved in kind of the bingo cards. I took the test myself, but it just genuinely makes me appreciate the arts, like Commissioner May said. I learned on a national level, the arts really drives the community. And so to see this and to see representation for everybody, it genuinely means a lot. And so I really want to thank both of you all and all the work that you all do. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Richardson?
Yeah, I'm just everything they said, but I've been with the city a long time, 1994, and to watch what you've done in the early 90s, we would have never thought. Of course, technology wasn't
Absolutely.
then what it is now. I get a lot of emails and a lot, not questioning, but what you and all of you are doing to get information out is by far, we're heads and, shoulders above everyone. I was recently in Richmond. I know that they try to do the best they can down there, the city, but we're making noise with what we're doing,
Awesome.
getting that word in. And so earlier, my question is, you said that you can do that on your laptop. That
Yeah.
is going to be an app as well?
It's not an app, so it just is, you can bring it up on your browser.
On your browser, okay.
smartphone. And
That's just
yeah.
as good, but
Yeah.
that is just so awesome. I mean, that in itself, because working for the city, when I worked, a lot of complaints, and I get it now, was just information. They
Yeah.
want information and how to get involved, just like Commissioner Ray was saying, and really, when I was on the police side, the community is the police and the police are the community. No different than city government. We are the community,
Yes.
and that's, we're elected by the community, and we want to listen to them. And what you've put forth here is just, it's a little, I won't say, I don't like tearjerker, but it is a little emotional, right? I'm not very an emotional person, but I am, but maybe on the other side
Yeah.
at times. But no, awesome, just fabulous.
Thank you.
And I'll say the same, kudos. One of the pillars of our previous strategic plan was telling Frankfort's story, and this is just another way to do that. And
Yeah.
good work. All the community partners
Yeah.
that came together on this, it's quality stuff. I'm anxious to see how the rest of the community, how they react to it.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
good work.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
We get a copy of the song?
Yes.
Is that-
Yes, I will send that out. We have the video file, the song. We're using the song for lots of different things, and that's free and open for everybody to use.
I want to show my kids.
Yeah.
We were well portrayed. We were well pictured in
It'll
there.
get stuck in your head, yeah.
Thank you all.
Next in staff reports, we have Eric Cockley presenting a development code rewrite. Just an update on that and where we're at in that process.
Evening, everybody. So I guess I get to follow that, so that's lovely. To talk about zoning codes. Huh? Anybody feeling tears turn back on?
Do you have a cartoon or song and a video?
No. No, I'm gonna bring you right back down. Right back down.
The real reason why we're here, okay?
Anywho, work continues on the development code rewrite. As you all know, we continue to meet with our consultant every other week as a group, and are starting to trade a lot more emails as we get more content to work through. The plan is still to have this scope of work completed and something to you all in the fiscal court by July is the goal, to finish this process. Where we are now, we've got a whole lot of stuff drafted, and we're still working through that. We're working between now and the end of the month, knock on wood, to try to start getting particular chapters of the code out to stakeholders in the community that are going to have to react to and possibly use that code, and start to get some kind of stakeholder feedback that way. February 26th, we're actually holding a public open house event. The consultant will put together a brief presentation, and then we'll have some kind of display boards to help communicate kind of the big themes and large changes we're making. We're not going to just throw out, the new draft document in full and expect people to want to comb through that and have it mean much of anything. So we're still kind of working on what that'll look like, but we're going to try to do it so that people can, the public can kind of become more aware of where we are in the process, since it's largely just been staff and consultant driven up to this point, but also so we can explain to folks and even to yourselves, point out some of the more meaningful changes that we're proposing to make with the new codes relative to what we're used to, and keep working on it from there.
Is that going to be?
The library, February 26th,
What time?
5:30.
And so you said that there will be draft language going out to the stakeholders. What about, can we see some of that draft language?
Sure,
too?
yeah.
When do you think that will be coming?
I can email you a link to our Dropbox, and you all can peruse all of it. And then, as always, throughout this, feel free to give me a shout with any questions over stuff or anything else.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Anybody else?
I would, yeah, I'd like to as well.
Cool.
Any questions or discussion? So this is something where what's the process like when, it comes time to adopt it, and, we have to adopt it, fiscal court has to adopt it. What if there's is there going to be like a committee where we get back together if there's any disagreement on the language?
We haven't, probably comparing this to going through that comprehensive plan process where we did so much, public input, open houses. We had the advisory committee and the steering committee with their own sort of roles. This part of the process we've handled more with a staff and consultant sort of perspective. Like I just said, we're having this public open house later this month to try to, let the public have a clue what we've been working on and sound off on that and give us some input. But I think the plan largely was to move forward with that and ultimately bring it to the Planning Commission for approval before bringing it to you all. And certainly along the process, open to any input you all might have. I know we've talked some in some of these meetings about particular things you'd like to see, which are things we've been working on. But yeah.
Everybody good? Thank you.
Yeah.
Our plan on this is to keep Eric, every work session, kind of just a quick update on you all until this is complete, and then once he sends those files out, it'll be even more discussion, I guess. All right, next we have a E911 interlocal update, and I'll kind of walk down there to present in front of you all. It's easier for me to talk to all everyone up down here. So the 911 interlocal, this is something that we've been working on. I kind of went back through 2023 might have been when I started in this process. I know it's probably going on before that, but as fire chief, I remember presenting on this. There was a joint meeting on this with city county. We're still in that process. And we have changed the interlocal down. I sent you all out that draft. It was separate. The language in that draft is we are proposing a 55-45% funding, city, county, city being 55% and county being 45%. Just to give some history of it, this was a 1991 agreement that has expired, and the original agreement was 75-25 city to county, which is still what's being covered right now. I presented today at the county's finance committee. They asked for a few more numbers, a little more focused on run volume than I'd like them to be, because as I've always said, public safety is an insurance policy, and 100% of everyone's 911 calls go through our dispatch center. So that's kind of where we're at. I want to just give you guys that quick update, take any questions as I'm still kind of trying to negotiate this contract with them.
Any discussion or questions? Commissioner Smith, Willis?
I personally just wanted to say thank you for the work that you have done on this. This has also been something newer for me to learn about. I appreciate it. I actually attended the finance committee today to make sure that I was hearing all the things collectively together to be able to fully understand the scope of this topic in particular. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I do think that it be a revisited. I mean, 1991 is a long time ago, and I think that we have been doing our due diligence in terms of bringing things up to date. So I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation, because I do think that, like you said, as an insurance policy, we all don't like to pay it, but we have to do our part in it. So I appreciate bringing this up and trying to bring it up to present date. So thank you.
Yeah, and the original agreement was for 2 years, if you read back through it, and it had additional 2-year contracts if good faith negotiations went on between city and county, and it just never happened.
Commissioner Richardson?
That would be my question. I saw, the term I saw is 2 years. And then, so in respect legally, I guess it's non-existent. Am I right? This agreement, the fact that it's that old and not even within the parameters of the contract.
It is, yes, effectively, I believe, I mean, I don't.
The original said, yeah, it said 1991 for 2 years, and then an additional 2 years could be negotiated in good faith.
So let's just spread it out and say 4 years. So in 1995, this became kind of obsolete, so to speak.
So then it just becomes almost like a month-to-month
Yeah.
contract that everybody just keeps going.
Now, I realize that, sometimes when you don't have policy, that practice is policy. I understand that. But, yeah, this is long overdue. And I think, I'm glad this is something that we're looking into, especially when it comes to, like Commissioner Smith-Willis said, everything ebbs and flows when it comes to public safety through our E911, 100% of it. So.
And we're asking for that 20% increase. County already pays 25, we're just asking for a 45. And we kind of base that off population, city, county.
Yeah, and I would equate that, public safety is somewhat of an insurance policy. Would you agree that we don't necessarily pay everyone? I don't particularly like, I hope I don't have to have an ambulance at my house, but I do want an ambulance at my house. But, so there again, I mean, when it comes to service, I mean, I hope they get to the fire guys get to sit in the station for 24 hours and never make a run. That's a good day. In my time, we used to call those the salad days, meaning that they were good times, that you weren't out here, risking your life or having to save people, which meant things were good. So, but we still pay them correctly. So I think that's something the public needs to know, that public safety is more of an insurance policy, somewhat like your car insurance. So.
Yeah, in my 20-year fire career here with the city of Frankfort, there were 2 times that I did not make a run at a station. I was paid the same for those days.
Well, and the same, when I was a young patrol officer, I used to get aggravated when we weren't busy, and I had a good mentor that told me those were the salad days, meaning
Yeah.
take advantage of them, because they don't often happen
Yep.
in public safety. But I'm glad we're addressing this. It's way past due, Mayor, and I think this is a fair assessment of 5545.
I would ask for assistance from you all on reaching out to the magistrates and trying to help me with these negotiations as well, if that's possible.
What's the dollar, in dollar terms?
In
what's
dollar
the difference
terms,
from
I do not have it in front of
25%?
me, but we're looking at, it was around 700,000 for city and about 600,000 for county with the 55-45 split. County's contribution goes up 279,000. That would be, I remember that one, 279 to change.
So that's the ask,
That's the ask.
to make it more
To
equitable.
make it more equitable, that 20% is about 279,000.
Is it fair to say, though, that this is also going to help with, we had a presentation from the police department when it came to our communication system. This will help right the ship with getting our equipment up to speed, so to speak, that where we need it, correct?
Yes, any interlocal, it addresses capital purchases. That's, could be negotiated at the time of those purchases, but also in that we still collect $1 on landline fees. That's just over $79,000 what we're collecting now, and in my interlocal, I say we keep that for capital purchases and keep banking that until that, eventually that fee will be obsolete.
Yeah.
Because that fee's been on since '91, and I mean, I don't know what the landline fees were back then, how much we were bringing in on that $1 landline fee.
Commissioner?
I just for, I guess, transparency, what was the dollar, to speak to Commissioner Richardson, what was the dollar amount that was the cost for the telecommunications that the police department is actually needing currently at this moment? Sorry, Chief, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It's one, I know it's 1 point something.
1 point.
Yeah, it's about 1.6 total.
That was with
With the counties.
everything.
Was it with the counties repeater?
That's with the,
That was an additional repeaters, like in the
Mhm.
northern part of the county.
There was not.
It was not the addition of those repeaters.
okay.
So 1.6 for countywide upgrade.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, City Manager. We'll move on to discussion items. Number one, we have a presentation from Sasaki. Welcome to Frankfort, and congratulations, because we're excited to work with you on this new riverfront visioning and strategic plan process.
Great. Good afternoon, members of the commission. Thank you for having us. I am Zachary Crisco. I'm a principal at Sasaki, and we are equally excited to be a part of this process. It's going to be a pretty amazing one that can really transform your city. I'm a principal civil engineer. I'm the principal in charge. I'm joined by Lon, who's in the back row. She's our project manager, and Marianne Ocampo, who's a Kentucky native, who's coming in this afternoon. We just kicked things off today with our first of multiple stakeholder meetings. We're doing a tour tomorrow of all the city properties, and I would say we're currently drinking from the fire hose, learning everything we can about your waterfront, which has been great. Just to acknowledge that, your waterfront is instrumental not only in the reason that Frankfort is here, but in that relationship that you all have had with it for multiple centuries now as both a cultural destination and tourist draw. But you've also had a complicated history with it impacting you all in really significant ways throughout the years. And so this plan really is looking to revisit that and provide a layer of resilience and protection for the city while also engaging the city down to the river fabric. And so what you have to build from right now is a pretty amazing downtown core that's historic, that has great activation and energy, but it really doesn't address the river. And this is an opportunity to bring the city inhabitants and tourists to the river in a way that doesn't happen today. This can also be a really significant opportunity for you all to grow the city in terms of tourist visitation, bring other folks from the city downtown, and giving them a space along the river that just doesn't exist today. So we really believe that this is an opportunity for you all to return to the river, to reconnect with what brought you here in the first place, and to create something really special for you all. Sasaki is a firm of more than 300 professionals, multidisciplinary. I'm a civil engineer, Alon's a landscape architect, Marianne's an urban designer. We all work together collaboratively because we think these issues are bigger than any one single discipline. And we've done this around the country, working on waterfronts, thinking about how to make them resilient, how to activate them, how to improve quality of life for city-goers. And it's with these decades of experience that we understand what it means to make a resilient waterfront. Similarly, we have built parks around the country, and what we really take pride in is not only the sort of design and seeing people use it, but coming back a year, 5 years, 10 years later, and understanding what it means to actually operate and maintain these spaces. We can bring you guys lots of pretty plans, but if you can't take care of them for the long term, they don't have a lot of value for you all. And so we want to make sure that what gets delivered to you all is something that you feel comfortable operating, maintaining for the long term. We've done lots of amazing work in Kentucky. Marianne has led a lot of planning work. And most recently, I had the privilege of leading this project down in Lexington, Gatton Park, that opened up this fall and has been a real incredible asset for their community, reconnecting their downtown core with the Town Branch Creek, which for years had been hidden from their community. We are supported by a couple consultants, Strand Engineering, who's worked with you all on a number of infrastructure projects in the past and worked with us on Gatton Park, as well as James Lima Planning and Development. They're our economic consultant, helping us think through how to make this project economically viable for you all. And this is the kickoff, so we will be here 2 more times throughout the process. The next time bringing 3 big level ideas of what this plan could be and engaging with the community through online surveys and in-person forums to hear their feedback. And then again, toward the end of the process, bringing a preferred vision to you all that will represent a real roadmap for how to get from that vision plan to something that can be implemented. So it'll have strategies for funding, strategies for maintenance, and a high-level strategy around the phasing or sequencing of it. Just to hit quickly on a couple projects that are relevant that Sasaki has led, we're working in Evansville on the Ohio River. Similar, they tasked us with thinking at a broad regional scale through multiple communities and then zooming in on their downtown core. And so this is part of that plan that has been unveiled now that reconnects people with their waterfront in a really unique way that for years they've really been sort of segregated from their waterfront in a healthy way. Importantly on this one, we've been thinking about funding from day one, and we've secured $40 million to date in state-ready grants that's going to really help them realize this vision. And so part of what our ask is that you all have asked of us is, where are the funding sources? How can we tap into state, federal grants? What are the opportunities locally? And is there an opportunity to tie in private groups? And so we're going to be looking at the sort of holistic capital build to understand what makes sense for you all. As I mentioned before, resilience is a huge piece of this for you all. You've got walls and levees that protect you, but many portions of your community are still impacted by floods. This is an example from Chicago where within about 12 hours of the floodwaters receding, they're selling wine again on the Riverwalk. And so a big piece of that is understanding what it means to operate something that can flood. It's similar in Cincinnati, where that park floods multiple times per year. It's an incredible asset for the community in the times when it's not flooded, and they've learned now how to bounce back quite quickly. I mentioned funding. It can come from a bunch of different sources, state sources, federal government grants, and local philanthropic community. Gatton Park was largely private, which was amazing for them, but is not necessarily the model here. And so we're going to want to think through with you all what makes the most sense. And so for us, as I mentioned, this is about reconnecting you with the community and the river and finding something that you're going to be really proud of and celebrate for decades to come. So that's our presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, and thank you again for selecting our firm. We're excited to be a part of it.
Commissioner May.
Mr. Crisco, thank you so much. I'm beyond excited that we're here today and at this phase, and I'm not going to go on an educational thing about why riverfront development matters, from quality of life to economic development to all that. Either you've got that on your head and we all know that, or you've decided something else. I'm a firm believer that this checks all the boxes for the community. It is the catalyst project for a groundbreaking transformation for Frankfort, not just downtown Frankfort, but the opportunities that it opens up for everybody, bringing in like the economic piece so we can reinvest in other parts of our community. It's astounding to me the way the universe works sometimes. I'll tell a quick little quip. Somebody knew that we were, or this was after the fact, they were telling me, you got to get to Gatton Park. You got to get to Gatton Park. You and your family are going to love Gatton Park. I had no idea you all were involved with it. And then when they announced where they've narrowed down who they were selecting, and then it was Sasaki, and then going through and seeing, oh, wow, you all do Gatton Park. You know, it's just fantastic. Everything, and I love that we're paying attention to it being sustainable and being resilient, and that you all focus and have worked with communities that battle the juxtaposition of having a river running right down through there. You know, nature's always going to win.
Yeah.
We're not going to stop it, so we got to prepare for it.
Yeah.
And I think preparing for it, what you all do, is great. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner May.
Commissioner Smith Willis?
Thank you, Mr. Crisco. It's really nice to meet you all. I'm just going to echo Commissioner May. Everything that he just said is super important, especially sustainability. My one question, kind of to Mr. Ashcraft's citizens' comment today, is kind of the turnaround on the online survey and the community feedback.
Yeah.
One of the really important things for me is I love this. I think this is fantastic. I'm going to sound selfish because I can't wait to dabble in it myself with my kid, but I'm not up here for me, I'm up here for the community. So I would like to see, or I would like to know what the plan of action is, or the phase of community input for people like Mr. Ashcraft.
Yeah, great question. So we're here this trip doing listening sessions with key stakeholders. Right after this, we're going to start to put together some analysis drawings and an online survey that will be available for the general public, where we're going to ask questions around what would you like to see at the riverfront? How can it be synergistic with other activities that are happening in the city? What are the areas where they see themselves wanting to engage with the river? And what lessons learned are there from other engagements? And so that's going to be an online survey. We will then share the results of that survey plus some three-level alternatives at a sort of major public engagement session that'll be both in-person and digital for those that aren't able to make it. We spend a lot of time thinking about how to reach the hard-to-reach communities, because those are oftentimes the ones that will end up using this space, but we may not otherwise engage with them. And so that'll be a big part of our second wave. And then the third wave is sort of unveiling the plan. It's celebrating the vision, and it's getting people excited about what's to come. And so there'll be both in-person opportunities and online versions to engage with this process.
Perfect, thank you.
Commissioner Richardson?
I appreciate presentation, and what's funny, I just last year was at the Riverwalk in Chicago, and I talked to some folks there because that was my question. I was like, this would be cool if we had some, but the resilience of, I think Commissioner May, you're not gonna, Mother Nature's gonna be Mother Nature, but how quickly they bounce back. I have some friends in Cincinnati, I talked to them as well, that's just kind of, they know what to do to get that cleaned up. I guess my one question is, when we do this, is there a vision, for example, to tie Capitol View Park into this? I would like to see, I don't want to, one thing I know that, and I've been with the city a long time, we have great ideas and then this vision, but we don't think beyond that time or the next time. Now, I understand the big hold up to anything is funding.
Right.
And I'm not trying to bankrupt us either.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important when we look at this that we think about different phases as maybe funding comes available, who knows what. So is that something that will take place as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. I'm going to go on a limb and say this is going to come up in every single one of our meetings we're about to have, because it was a big topic of the discussion this morning as well. I think what we've been charged with is we want to create a vision that everyone's excited about. That's a long-term strategic vision. It's got to have some wins in it that are reasonably doable for you all in terms of financing, permitting, ability to get things done. And so the vision's going to have to be broken up into a series of phases thinking through that sequencing, thinking through how can you be responsive to the grants that become available, which we may not know today, but 6 months from now, there may be some that pop up that we can respond to. So that's going to be a big piece of this. And so I'd say to answer that question, yes. The other piece is connectivity was a major theme of the discussion this morning. How can we connect to the other assets that already exist in the city to make this part of a broader vision? And so that'll be in the plan as well. How can you create a cohesive, connected system?
Yeah. Thank you.
And I'll echo what everyone else has said, but this is an exciting project. The riverfront development's been talked about here for years, and in the past, we've had a couple of plans that have touched on this. So I guess for the people that are thinking, well, why, what's different with this one? What would you say to those folks?
Yeah, we're not wiping the slate clean and restarting. In fact, there's a lot of good things in those plans. I think part of what this plan has to do is give you a roadmap for how to move forward. And so we'll be taking the great ideas from those plans, what we hear from the community, bringing our own set of ideas, infusing that all, but then creating a really strategic plan for how to move forward with this. And so hopefully this isn't something that sits on the shelf, but it's something that you can't say no to.
Right. And that was the other part of that. Once we have a plan, that we want something that other potential partners at the state and federal level, something that they cannot refuse.
Right.
If we show them this plan, it'll be so exciting that they'll open up the purse strings.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this is about. We have to invest the money up front. We also had to invest in some properties. We picked up 3 properties in the past 3 years that are along the riverfront, and that's important. Control is important. And whatever you say goes on those properties, if it fits, we can RFP this, and we can make sure it happens quicker. And I think that's the role of government, is to help unlock those bottlenecks, and that's something we're doing. And anyway, we're glad you're here. Hopefully you're loving Frankfort so far.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you all.
Zach.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yep.
All right, discussion item number 2, we have the finance quarterly update with Amber Moreland.
Good afternoon. I just have maybe 5 minutes presentation. I just want to talk about our quarterly revenues. From July 1st to December 31st, in comparison to last fiscal year, the city is up 9.7% in revenues. That is $2.4 million increase over last year. I would like to say we saw the largest increase in business net profits, withholding, and insurance. So we are doing very well in our revenues. I will say part of that increase in net profit was due to we allowed local businesses extra time to file this year through November, just like the state, due to flooding. So that did increase those numbers slightly. In regards to our expenditures, we are down 1% in comparison to last fiscal year. So our financials, we are doing very well. We have really implemented some budgetary aspects that keep us in line, and all department heads are working really tightly to make sure they're staying in their budget and only asking this commission for items they actually have to run and operate. Any questions?
I thought you said 5 minutes. I was like 2.
Yeah.
No, Commissioner Richardson.
Sorry.
Thank you, because this is important, and obviously this is, I try to pay as much attention as I can to our finances. I think staff is doing real well, and I'm just going to say it. I hear a lot of chatter that the city's broke. We're not broke.
We're not broke.
We're not broke. This board and city staff, we're doing a great job to control our expenses and increase our revenues.
Thank you. Staff does appreciate that acknowledgement, because it is hard sometimes to stay within a budget. Government always moves a little slower than profit, so we do appreciate the acknowledgement, because it's not always easy for department heads to make some of the decisions they have to make, but we're all, part of the same team, and we all understand to be physically responsible. We know what we need to do, and we know how to get there, so.
Well, and that's just something I wanted to point out in public, because I hear too much chatter. I'm sure you hear it.
Yeah.
I know that we had some, this time last year, we had some stuff come up, but, even in my personal life, I've had, things happen, right? Just like government, we have things happen that we have to fix it, right? Or we have to buy it. But I think it's important to recognize staff, the board, that we've really done well to curb our spending, increase our revenue the best we can.
Thank you.
Commissioner Smith Willis.
I was going to echo Commissioner Richardson, and I was going to, how he always says, he likes to take care of home, so I was going to use that before he did, but anyways. I appreciate the fact that, talking to certain department heads, I know things happen, just like Commissioner Richardson had said. So I just appreciate you all being able, I think between the board, staff, city manager, just having effective communication. So I do know that there are still asks out there, and things still might come up, but I really appreciate the work and the time that you all put into practice restraint, so we can try to get a little bit of ahead and in a better position than what we have been. So I just want to say thank you as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner May.
Just want to echo that. Yep. Thank you all. I know what it's very difficult to kind of change course very quickly and aggressively, and I think we've done that over the past year. I think we've been working on that over several years as well with some of the boards and previous boards, and identifying, I think I was speaking to the mayor earlier about some of these things, and I feel like our financial opportunities or pitfalls at the city of Frankfort, it's not one glaring, gleaming thing.
Agreed.
To me, it feels like kind of the death by a thousand cuts.
Yes.
And everyone's taken that up, mission statement and that marching order and moved forward with that and started to plug the little holes. And, we're talking about the ordinance changes that kind of balance back out the fairness from outdated ordinances and making efforts
Yes.
in the departments themselves. And I think we all look forward to being able to give back
Yes.
to those that have sacrificed, a little bit and had some extra stressors
Yes.
over the past few months and
agree.
years. So thank you.
And what I hear is revenues up and expenses are down.
Yes, sir.
Right? And revenues up a lot more than the expenses are down. But I just want to also point out that, and make sure that, we're cutting expenses, we're not cutting services. This is not, I'm willing to invest in, I don't mind if expenses are going up if we're providing a level of service that the community expects and deserves. So I want to make that clear that, as long as we have that. And also on the reserves, do you know what our reserves are?
I believe we've got about 2.4, but if we've got this much revenue generating, that'll be on top of the 2.4 that we have available for expenditures.
2.4 above and beyond our minimum fund balance.
Correct.
Is that what
Yes,
you,
that
so
is
how much, but our minimum fund balance is what?
14, about
So-
14 million.
Yeah, so to Commissioner Richardson, when you hear chatter that,
Yeah.
we're broke, I mean, we have $14+ million set aside,
Agree, yes. Yes.
right?
We
And
do.
and so and that's above what we set as a minimum fund balance. So
Yes.
it's not, and we can make adjustments on any of this. And there's money set aside for opportunities and emergencies. if we
Additionally,
should-
we have the, we'll discuss Finance Committee, we have the, we just discussed it.
2.7 million.
From workers' compensation and the.
So
health
that's not
fund.
even included in this.
That is not included in this.
Yeah. So we'll discuss that the next finance, I
Yes.
guess. But yeah, so that's an additional 2.7 million above the, we're talking closer to 16 or 17 million. Okay. That's all I had.
Thank you all.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you. Discussion item number 3 is a proposed Parks Committee order for Sean Pickens. This was actually, to set the stage for this, is actually brought up by Commissioner May. We were discussing, we had a golf discussion, and he said, why don't we have a committee for parks? And Sean said, hey, let's work on this, and I'll let Sean kind of take it from there.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much as simple as that. I know we've got, Jason and I meet, once or twice a month at least, sometimes more if things are going on with the park staff. So we discuss a lot of things. And so, we had that master plan completed back in 2020. We've got the insurance premium tax funding, and we've got a lot of big projects just kind of right there waiting to go. a big part of it's with the Sasaki group as well, with the downtown parks. So, we're right at the precipice of, some big, high, high dollar projects that have been talked about for a while. It just we need to get them, to the starting point. So he and I talked, and it's like, we really need to, get some of these going. So bringing up the committee, and, we think it's a very necessary step, not just for projects, but for, policies and procedures, our fees, our revenue generation, all the things that come up in parks. So, so we would like to present that to you. We're looking at right now, tentatively looking at Thursdays in March. I know y'all wants another meeting to have to go to. I get it, but I think a lot of your committee currently is on Tuesdays, I think. So we're looking at potentially on Thursday. We haven't set a time yet. Just kind of wanted to see if you all were going to move this committee forward. And then we're not set on Thursday. We can move. It works better for you guys. So, but we're tentatively looking at Thursday, and then we can set a time. So, but that's basically it. Take any questions.
Yeah, this is going to operate the same as our other committees. It's going to be a good way that we can get things in front of that committee first and two of the elected officials first before bringing it to the whole commission, such as fees and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
What's the difference between this committee and the Parks Advisory Committee that's made up of citizens that we appoint and approve?
Yeah, very similar. Essentially, it won't really change how they operate. They'll make a recommendation, they'll review fees, they'll review policies, whatever the case might be. And essentially, instead of just coming directly to you, it'll go to that commission or to that committee first, and then work through all the details and all the, all the innuendo stuff, and then eventually work up to you guys.
So it goes to them first and then
Correct.
runs to this committee?
Yep.
Any other questions? Not? Commissioner May?
I appreciate you bringing it forward. I think the committees for me, have worked out really well. It's nice, I think, for the community to know. I can't think of a more efficient thing we've done for keeping us in the loop as the deciding body on a lot of these issues, and thinking about just all the staff's time, getting something together, and then to find out 72 hours before a meeting or 48 hours before a meeting, that it's just not even something that wants to get up here yet or needs to be hashed out more. I think that's the goal, is to make sure that we have something worthy of presenting to the board to make a decision on, and that we've all kind of had a chance to ask a little more of
Absolutely.
the hard-hitting questions or some of those detailed digging in type things before.
Gives us a
we
little
get-
more face time with you guys to go through all the details, because a lot
Right.
of times they get complicated which is the case with a lot of things, so.
Right. Thank you.
Get you all informed better before we bring it up for a vote.
Without any objection, you want to put this on the voting meeting, February? Is that what we're
That was the
thinking?
plan, yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you,
Yep.
Sean.
We will need two commissioners appointed at the plan for the March meeting. And unless there's any opposition, we'll stick to Thursdays.
Thank you, Aaron.
We have action item number 4. We have FPD annual report with Chief Napier.
Assistant Chief Tracy is handing out a copy of the published version. It's exactly what we're going to go over here. I won't go through every page of this. We'll skip through some of it, hit the highlights, just save some time. If you'll have any questions, please stop me and ask those, or we'll answer them at the end. And I want to give kudos to Assistant Chief Tracy. He spent a lot of time and effort in putting this publication together for today. There's a lot of numbers, a lot of stuff to sort through, photographs, just trying to go back and remember what all we've done in 2025. It was a big year. The PowerPoint, it didn't exactly play nice when we transferred it, so some of these slides look a little weird, but you all have the printed version there in front of you. So we'll get started. So we'll skip through some of that stuff. Real quick, I will hit, Frankfort's demographics. About 28,000 residents, 75% white, 15% African American, with smaller percentages of Hispanic, Asian, and multiracial residents. And the median age is 39 years old. The police department's divided into 3 divisions. We have an operations division, a support services division, and then Frankfort E911. Those divisions are headed up by Captain Shane Music, Captain Kenneth Keith, and Captain Scott Morgan. So I'm going to start with the honors for 2025. So our Officer of the Year was Elijah Amsler. Amsler, he did a fantastic job in the patrol division. He handled investigating a lot of cases while he was there. He's had a lot of interest in becoming a detective. Actually, that dream was made a reality in January of this year. He was actually moved to the Criminal Investigations Division, but he was our 2025 Officer of the Year. And then our Telecommunicator of the Year was Yvonne Holker, better known as Dee Dee, those that know her. Again, I mean, I think she really is the one that keeps that place running. She's always going above and beyond, doing what's asked of her, and then some, just to try to make our dispatch center run as smoothly as it possibly can. She's constantly taking on extra tasks, and those awards were actually, they're recommended by their peers. They're nominated by their peers. Other award recipients. Yeah, I'll let you flip through that. The Medal of Valor. Oscar Guevara received the Medal of Valor. We actually had an incident just right before Christmas where we had an impaired driver driving the wrong way on the Thornhill Bypass and then Wilkinson Boulevard. Officer Guevara responded, saw the vehicle coming at him, activated his lights to try to get the driver to stop, and then blocked the path. His vehicle was struck, and he was injured in that collision. But, I mean, you have somebody driving the wrong way on Wilkinson Boulevard. I mean, that's a lot of danger to the general public, and he put himself directly in harm's way to stop that. So he received a Medal of Valor for that. We have the William A. Hartung Commitment to Service Award. That was Officer John Fields. For those of you that knew Chaplain Hartung, he founded the chaplains program at the police department. He was there for 20-some years in an unpaid position, and served the police department and the community well for a long time. So in his honor, we created this Commitment to Service Award, and John Fields embodies what that is about. For any of you all that know John Fields, he is of the highest character, always volunteering his time, and has always been committed to the Frankfort Police Department and whatever we in this community needs. I don't think he has ever said no to anything. Moving along to Fit for Duty Excellence Award, there's 19 people on this list total. I'm not going to name every one of them, but that's over a third of our agency. Officers receive this for scoring a 90% or above on their annual physical fitness assessment. So just want to recognize them. So getting into the kind of the meat of it, I'd say what most people want to know about is some arrest and crime reporting data. So the Frankfort Police Department responded to 33,211 calls for service in 2025. We broke those down. The number one arrest was for driving under the influence. We had 173 arrests for that particular offense. We also had 392 total felony arrests, 815 misdemeanor arrests, and 787 warrants served. So for the FBI, there are, it's called NIBRS reportable offenses. There's Group A and B. The Group A are the more serious crimes that the FBI, that they're concerned with. So we have those broken down. So for 2025, we had 2 homicides, 8 rapes, 292 assaults, 73 burglaries, 373, it says larceny. That's the way the FBI does it, it's thefts. Auto thefts were 36, drug violations, a total of 185. You can go to the next slide. We'll skip the charts. That's the same thing that's on the other one for the most part, just laid out a little different. So next is our training hours. So there is a lot of mandatory training that the police department, that we have to do, but then there's a lot of specialized units that they have to have specialized training, safety and medical preparedness, in advanced investigations, recruit development. There's a lot of categories that we have to put time and effort into to make sure that we stay up on our training. And the agency as a whole had almost 11, well, we had just over this slide at the bottom, it totaled 10,245. Actually, when we recalculated everything, with some of the recertifications that we had to do, we were actually at 11,301 training hours for the year. So Frankfort and Franklin County E911, that's also under the police department. As you talked a little bit about it earlier, our dispatch center handled over 83,000 calls. So 23,446 of those were emergency 911 calls, and they had 60,074 non-emergency calls. So that's just the phone calls coming in. That's not, you dispatch a police officer or fire, EMS, sheriff's deputy, anybody else. That doesn't include all of the radio traffic and how many times, you have to use the radio in one of those calls. So that our dispatch center, there's a lot of volume that comes through that dispatch center, with the radio traffic and the phone calls. So they stay very busy in there. So while we were kind of on the topic of E911 today, I wanted to highlight that, 83,000 calls for service is hundreds of thousands of radio transmissions total that they process, and then it's entered into the computer. So our dispatch center is extremely busy. The next section is about community policing advocates. You can back that up. Bottom of it's theirs. I'm going to let them talk about their statistics and what they're doing. Homelessness, abuse, some juvenile issues, domestic violence, things like that. That's what they handle a large part of that for us, and I'll let them present their section.
Good evening. Hello. Just to first of all say we really appreciate your all support in this position. We are two, which is fantastic, 2 of 29 across the state of Kentucky. So we meet with our Kentucky Association of Police Social Services every month to collaborate and try to come up with some great ideas and plans for our community. Some of the, and you can see on the graph, most of the cases that we deal with are strictly with homelessness, general need of services, which could be any kind of general need, say food, utilities, things like that, that some of the folks that our law enforcement comes in contact with may need assistance with. The other tops are domestic violence and juvenile cases and seniors that are also in need of services. We're finding that more senior adults are having a lot more issues, with decline in cognitive capacity, things like that. And so we really try to focus on providing those resources to law enforcement because we want to reduce the recidivism rates. We don't want them to get called out 20 times every time. So what we try to do is we try to provide those supports in place to allow them to not have to continue to complete those calls. Excuse me. Some of the things that we want to make sure that you understand too, within the 445 cases that we dealt with this past year, those are unique individuals only. That does not include the case management piece that goes along with that, the continued phone calls, the text messages that we usually get. We get a lot of referrals from a lot of our different places, not only just from law enforcement, but we get them from schools, agencies like Simon House, different different types of agencies that might need those support. Some of the other things that we have done too is provide a new program called Situation Table, and we've done this now for about 2 years, and I'll let Tricia talk a little bit about that one real quick.
Yeah, so the general need of services, that also encompasses any situation table referrals. We don't want to document those as situation table just due to the high confidentiality rate of that program. So I know some of you all have heard about the program before. We've been doing it since the end of 2023, and from the end of 2023 to now, we've had close to 90 situation table cases. Those cases look a little bit differently than the 445 cases that Shelley was discussing. Those are based on a specific high-risk compilation of what might be going on for someone in our community. So those cases are more lowering that risk factor and getting people connected to resources in our community, but it brings together community partners on those. It could be an individual, a family, or a neighborhood that we've addressed. And it brings our community partners all together in one line of communication. That way we can all work together and stop working in silos. So that's really been a successful program. It's kind of similarly to what Shelley was saying about our, what kind of cases we're looking at in Situation Table. Housing, basic needs, and poverty is what we've seen as the top risk factors there. Many of our cases involve children, seniors, and people who are disabled. In reference to our Situation Table, we have been recognized on a statewide level and on a national level for our model for our Situation Table. I have spoken nationally on several occasions, and Shelley and I have spoken on the state level several times as well, 3 times in 2025. We spoke at the Kids Are Worth It conference, which is through the Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky, and then we spoke at the Friskies conference, and then we also spoke at the Kentucky Opioid Symposium last year. So that's kind of all I'll say about that. If you want to learn more, just let me know and we can have a further conversation about that.
In March of 2025, our program received funding through CORE, through the Kentucky Opioid Response Effort. Through that, we've been able to start our quick response team. The quick response team is a team made up of myself, Tricia, peer support specialists, and others in the community that are willing to help us out in reducing overdoses. So what we do is we do home visits. We provide resources such as packets, information to programs, Narcan, syringe information, syringe exchange information. We have included the health department and UK Target 4. The program has actually been very successful, and it's still growing. We're actually trying to increase our awareness and increase our referral process at this point. So,
and what we also do with that program as well is we support the families. So I think that's a really important piece too when you're talking about someone who's suffering from substance use disorder or even mental health disorder. The families are affected as well. So we also provide resources to them, and we've spoken to many family members in very tough situations and gotten them connected as well, because they need just as much support as the individual is using.
And I'll let Tricia talk a little bit more about this next topic that we have, but obviously 2025 brought on the major flooding that we had. And Tricia and I were a major part in the support to our community. And I'll let you talk about the mark.
Yeah, so you all can read the statistics there of what all we did during the flood, but from April 4th until probably about Derby, we were knee deep, for lack of a better term, in working through this flooding, connecting folks to sheltering, talking with families that had lost all their things or even had lost family members, helping them get connected to grieving supports. And then, like she said, the biggest thing that we undertook, the two of us, aside from sheltering, was the Multi-Agency Resource Center. So that was up at 827 Leewood Drive, right there next to Multiply Church. It was connected with our disaster recovery center that FEMA puts on. But how the Multi-Agency Resource Center works is it's community partners basically set up tables for flood victims or flood affected people to go through and receive, even if it's something that they may have always been connected to. We had folks like family support, so if people had lost their food stamps, they could get connected to that resource again, or it was just a way for people to walk in and have a one-stop shop to where they could get all those resources. And kind of like the situation table, we received statewide recognition for that, and we were called by other communities to help them set theirs up the way that we set ours up, which the situation table was very, very helpful in that because we already had those partnerships.
That's all from us.
That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will say with our community policing advocates, a lot of what they deal with, homelessness, mental illness, substance abuse, at face value, those things aren't crimes but can lead to criminal behavior that we would get involved in. But even with some of in these other categories, the police are called for just about anything. When somebody needs help on any level, they call into Frankfort, Franklin County E911, and a lot of times police officers are sent. And really at the end of the day, as brash as it sounds, we can cite somebody, we can take somebody to jail, but there's not a whole lot that we can do sometimes, beyond that, depending on the situation. So, law enforcement might not be the appropriate response, even though law enforcement, we're the ones that were called to the scene. So what our community policing advocates, what they have done is there's a lot of resources that are available that they knew about as social workers, but law enforcement really wasn't connected into. So having them on staff, they're one of the positions there that I can't imagine how we did it before they were there, because they take a lot of strain off of law enforcement, and we have never liked responding and telling somebody, I don't know what to do about your situation, and I don't know how I can help you. That's not an appropriate response, and we don't like telling the community that, sorry, you're out of luck. But what we do know is that we can call Tricia and Shelley, and we can say, here's the situation that we have been sent to. This is what we've got. What do you think? And, they're on call. They'll respond after hours. The referrals, things like that, it's taken a lot of pressure off of our patrol units, just knowing, hey, some of these things that we can't arrest our way out of or cite our way out of, but they are a community problem that we've been called to. We know who we can contact to at least get the ball rolling on getting resources and getting them help. So they've been a huge part of that, and a huge part of our response for some things that, that they're not criminal in nature. So just want to give them kudos there. So, moving along to our narcotics detectives, our narcotics section. So they're, 2025 was a highly active year for them. They secured 32 arrests. Now, this isn't 32 just drug arrests. This is our narcotics detectives made 32 arrests. These are higher level investigations. Of those 32 arrests, we had 5 federal indictments. The financial impact on this was $145,699.78 in U.S. currency was seized, and 6 assets valued at $55,000. Also, 10 weapons seized, 3 of which were stolen. The drug seizures, cocaine was the highest weight amount seized. They seized over 45 pounds of cocaine, about 20 pounds of marijuana, 69 gross grams of methamphetamine, and then 4 gross grams of fentanyl powder and 28 pills. 4 gross grams of fentanyl powder is roughly 2,000 lethal dose units. 2 milligrams is considered a lethal dose unit. So that's a lot of fentanyl that these guys got off the streets. So now the Citizens Police Academy is one of the, it's really popular. We've done it for a long time. I think it was started when you all were, or right before that. I was going to say, that's what I thought. So we've done it for quite a while, and Assistant Chief Tracy runs the Citizens Police Academy now, so I'll let him talk about the Citizens Police Academy, what that entails, and how we're running that program now.
I'm going to be quick. Really, the Citizens Police Academy, it's really about communication, education, and a good way just to connect with the community. We did 2 classes this year. We did one for just the general public. Commissioner Smith Willis participated. I think she had a pretty good time. I hope she had a pretty good time. And it's just really a way for our officers to get in contact with the community, for them to learn from us. A lot of people there's a lot of misconceptions out there about law enforcement and how procedurally things work, even on a lot of the laws and things that take place. So it's a really great way for us to just educate and have that engagement with the community. We talk a lot, Chief and I do, about making deposits in our community, and this is just one way for us to make a deposit. And we have a great time. We've kind of changed a little bit of the way we do things. We try not to just sit in the classroom, but we actually try to get them to participate. This year, our criminal investigations division set up a mock crime scene and showed them how to work through a crime scene. So, things like that, the more that are more participatory, people really get into it, man. They love it, and I love doing it. When I first started doing it, I wasn't so sure about taking over the CPA, but then when you get to doing it, it's a blast. And then also we did one on, I started this was the second year, 2024 was the first year we did it. We do a CPA class on the campus of Kentucky State University with the Criminal Justice Department. Reached out to Dr. Williams a couple years ago. He was all about it. And I love that class, being able to do that on campus. And we don't do it on campus because some of the students maybe don't have, cars and things like that. They're young adults, so we go to them. It's a little bit abbreviated. We usually do about 7 weeks versus the 9, almost 10 that we do with the regular CPA. But it's a great way for us to be involved with Kentucky State University. And they get to see our faces and get to know who your local law enforcement is, because we have officers from several different units and things like that come and teach themselves. So it's not just me standing up there every week, but we have guys from, the K-9 officer, SWAT, detectives, things like that all come in and get to participate in these classes. So that's kind of just a low down dirty. I am going to throw a plug out there. We are starting a class March 11th. So if you know anybody, we are getting close. I'm getting close to being full. So if you know anybody who wants to participate, I would encourage any of you all on the commission that want to participate to come do it. I think that's just, you really get to learn a little bit more about how we operate. Rob, I would even challenge you to come do it, buddy. A lot of things changed since 1960s. We do things a little different, okay? So.
How did I know? I appreciate that.
I can't take him anywhere.
No.
So the 2025 flood, we've already talked about it a little bit, but from the police response, we led emergency operations all the way down to conducting door-to-door welfare checks and evacuations of the South Frankfort and Bell Point area. Officers enforced curfews and evacuated zones to protect property. Here's a big one. From April the 5th until April the 19th, the response required 1,428 and a quarter overtime hours, costing an estimated, this is salary, this isn't fringe benefits on that too, costing $67,304.19 in salaries in that 2 weeks. It was all hands on deck. our Criminal Investigations Division actually came out and covered a lot of that because we couldn't cover it only with our patrol division. Command staff came out, helped with some of it. We had neighboring agencies that are great partners come in, help us out. We worked with the sheriff's office, and we got everything covered. And I'm proud of the response that we had in that first push right there. Including there were some projections that water could even get into the police department. We evacuated the first floor of the police department, and I was sitting here as a brand new police chief thinking, I'm certain that we've never had to do a one call to, hey, we need all the police officers to come down here so we can evacuate the police department and move everything, including our evidence vault, to a secure location. So it was new for everybody. Like I said, I'm proud of the response that we had and the time that everybody invested in that. It was a lot, as you all know. A lot of you all were heavily invested in this too. Very long days for everybody. Our CPAs helped establish 7 emergency shelters that planned for up to 1,000 unhoused individuals. Thank goodness, excuse me, that we didn't hit that number, but there was a plan in place for 1,000 unhoused individuals. All right. So also in 2025, we did have a promotion. So Joseph Williams was promoted to sergeant in January of 2025. We were putting this together. I thought, man, we really only had one person promoted that year? And we did. That was the only promotion. We've already had 4 this year already. So, other career accomplishments. Lieutenant Patrick Brooks graduated from Criminal Justice Executive Development. We had Detective Nick Patton graduated from the Kentucky Criminalistics Academy. That's weeks long. They do some very in-depth learning investigations, homicide investigations. The Criminalistics Academy, as far as Kentucky's concerned, is kind of like the apex of training for detectives. So that's a huge career accomplishment for Detective Patton. We also had Shane Music graduated from the FBI National Academy. There's his picture in the bottom right. And then our very own Shelley Hearn was recognized as a champion of adult maltreatment prevention, recognized by Governor Andy Beshear and given that award in the Capitol Rotunda. Community events. Did we get a total of how many we did? It was a lot. Well, on the back page it says 18, but of those 18, the concert series was 5 events. There were 4 nights of security, and then the event night for Haunting on the Hill. So 3 nights for the candlelight tour, 5 events for Pice. So there's a lot of stuff there. There's some other runs and races and things like that we participated in that aren't on that list that we typically do. But our community events, we try to be very involved. We had, in those photos, there's the Relay for Life, Move with MAD at the Capitol. We had our Christmas movie. That's the second time that we've done that. We did it in 24 and then again in 25. We've got Home Alone 1 and 2 covered in those 2 years. Coffee with the Cop, National Night Out, the Torch Run. We had Kentucky State University Health Fair, Cram the Cruiser, Salvation Army bell ringing. We try to invest heavily in community engagement as well. And then this last part of it, so there's some of the events that we worked, and then I'm not going to go through all this, but I have, each month, kind of some of the highlights, who was Officer of the Month, people that graduated from the Police Academy, Dispatch Academy, new hires, things of that nature, if you want to see how that breaks down throughout the year. So that kind of sums up our 2025. Do you all have any specific questions?
Open it up for discussion or questions. Commissioner May.
No specific questions, just a heartfelt thank you for putting this together and continuing to do what you do to serve our community. It's, you got a much bigger community than just those that live here that you serve, with people that come in to tour our amazing town and people that come in to work here. And we ask you to continue to do the same all the time, while, as we saw in the financial, we were asking everybody to just kind of pull back a little bit and tighten it up. But you were still asked to go above and beyond this year, and the impacts of the flood and, having all those numbers broken down, as those of us that may make decisions on it, we appreciate it from that standpoint. But it also just kind of helps codify the importance of what you all do day in and day out, 24/7, 365. Everybody that takes that oath and wears that badge and works over there for us, we appreciate it. All the first responders, just every day. You're the lifeline of our community. So thank you.
Commissioner.
I think I'm going to speak a little bit more candidly here, and I think life is full circle, personally. And so being in this position and being able to review this report and to be able to work with you on a professional level, I first want to say thank you. Systematically, I think there's always an issue, but when I look in locally, I do think that we have a very good police department. I appreciate you all for always being transparent and honest with me. Officer Tracy, we've had very constructive conversations around the community itself. Trisha and Shelley do a fantastic job. But just coming from somebody that has always given you all pushback in the past, I really appreciate you all. And then seeing some of those numbers on narcotics, I don't think the community might not know, but my dad passed away from a fentanyl overdose. So thank you for getting it off the streets, working with the community that gives you all pushback occasionally when things aren't going right on a national level. Because it's not you all personally, it's just kind of just a little bit unjust and unrest. But lock it in a local level, just thank you all for the work that you put in. And I'm just always appreciative for you guys, so thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Richardson.
Well, I'll make no bones that my very first priority getting elected to this position is the government's #1 job is to protect this community or its citizenry. So you're doing a great job. I love all the detail this probably took a while. Did you put this together? I would give you a hard time since you gave me a hard time, but I won't. But again, I'm very proud of the police department. I think you do a good job. I think a lot of times the community doesn't realize that you do a good job, but you hold each other accountable. And a lot of times when I teach classes in law enforcement, that the thin blue line is not about taking care of each other, it's as much about accountability. Because one badge can make the entire badges look bad. I think all of you, including our community advocate, Shelley, what you all do, that all together. I wish I had a conversation with Derek. I did a quick math on some of what you all do. I can tell you the two things that just stuck out to me were the homelessness and the mental illness. Those are two things I remember being on the street, and adult abuse. You don't deal a lot with that, but those are things we had no answer for, right? And you didn't really know what to do. And as a law enforcement officer, you felt very hopeless, right? Because you were like, where do I direct these people to? A lot of times it was for, it was a state service that was overwhelmed in itself. I'd like to see our legislatures do more in that area with, especially when it comes to mental illness. There is not a lot of resources even for you out there, and we've got to do something with that. And sometimes mental illness with the substance abuse go hand in hand, and not because I'm not picking on them, but I've seen that firsthand. But again, I think you guys do a great job. I love how chiefs hold people accountable, and just keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I do have a quick question on the tens of thousands of calls that come into dispatch. I think 60,000 non-emergency calls. Now, are they still police related, or are these? I guess what percentage would you guess are are anybody calling? Are they calling in for city services in any way?
No, not usually. So those calls, that's not just police calls. It could be, us for E911's numbers, EMS, city fire, county fire. That's their total number of calls that came into the E911 center for Frankfort and Franklin County. We had it was 33,000 and something, total police calls. The dispatch center had 83,000 calls. So it really just depends. They're usually not calling into our dispatch center for other city services. It's police, fire, EMS, sheriff's
It's
office.
adjacent. They're calling, something related to public safety and not.
Right, and those non-emergency calls, I mean, sometimes people call the non-emergency number if they've had a collision and it's not an injury accident, or, sometimes we have 911 calls that's not really an emergency, and sometimes we have just the regular landline calls that they probably should have called 911 for, but they're broken down that way. We can see how many came in 911 and how many came in on the non-emergency lines, and so that's those numbers.
Thank you. Commissioner?
And a follow-up question to that, when, I guess, situational, if you all go to a scene, it's cleared, and Trish and Shelley step in, is that just localized Frankfort, or is it Frankfort, Franklin County? Like, is that, like, do you all serve everybody in our circumference of our community, if that came out right?
It's typically the city of Frankfort. However, there have been events in the county, and I don't know if you can name one specifically, but yes, there are some that go into the county, and we're not going to tell people, no, we're
Right.
not. We're
And I'm
gonna
not
use our
nitpicking, I just was
resources
curious
and help
about
you out. So
who you
we-
all service.
Yeah, so we do. I mean, it's primarily the city. I mean, that's what they focus on, but we help the county out too. I know the sheriff's office, the sheriff's office has responded to some scenes, and it's kind of the same thing. Law enforcement's like, we don't know what to do here, and they need help, and we don't know what services to connect them with, and they've made a call and said, would you mind if Tricia and Shelley came out and looked at this and helped us out? And we don't ever tell them no.
Thank you.
Commissioner Richardson?
To answer, maybe I can answer your question, Mayor. Probably, when I worked, I had a call for the wrong toppings on their pizza. That was a 911 call.
I know who that was.
I know. But I will tell you, I know how the police department, I know how Frankfort Police Department is, and they still operate this today. I had a person one time call, they didn't call 911, they sprung a leak in their water bed, and they did not know what to do. It was a slow night. At 3 in the morning, I helped them out, and you would have thought I saved their life. And I probably did, because their entire, it could, if anyone knows anything about a waterbed. So I know our police department, now I'm not saying they're ignoring an emergency call to do that, but I do want to say that the calls for service, now I hope we're not answering wrong toppings on pizzas no more, but that type of service, our community, I will tell you, the service our community is getting, because I am still in law enforcement to some extent, there are communities that do not get that type of service. So when they call, majority of the time, we send someone there. A lot of communities don't do that. The call is screened at the 911 agency. We pretty much, we rely on our officers to do that, which I'm very proud of to say.
Good to hear. Good report.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Somebody said that is a wrong topic.
Item number 5 under discussion is solid waste discussion. This is just a continuation of the past few meetings, and Sarah gathered some additional information that was requested from the board at the last meeting.
Okay, so I tried, hopefully, to take everything that we've talked about over the last several conversations that we've had and kind of distill it down into a few, hopefully, straightforward tables. So it's mostly numbers that we're talking about. Okay, so if you guys recall, when we started this whole conversation, I said that in my opinion, we had 3 options moving forward. We could do nothing, we could institute a fee and we keep collecting garbage, or we can privatize the solid waste service. So what I've done in this presentation is come up with the cost to do each one of those, and in the end, we'll compare what that looks like across all 3 options, okay, so we can discuss. So first, the do nothing scenario, and by do nothing, I mean we continue on as is. We're not planning to really upgrade much, we're not increasing services, we're not hiring any new people, we're just gonna keep on keeping on. So the items you see here are the projected FY '26 budget, the costs that we talked about last time that weren't included when we discussed this previously. So all of the insurance, workers' comp, all of that, and that is just the solid waste portion. That's not the entire cost for the city. It's just for solid waste. And then capital expenditures. And the reason there's two is because some years you might buy one vehicle, some years you might buy two. So that's the primary difference you see between the 450 and the 900. Other things kind of lumped in there, building improvements, security, ventilation, HVAC, and then some sort of routing software, which I think regardless of what we do is something that kind of we need to look into. So it comes to a total, and this is an annual cost, and I circled the high number because, well, one, it's safer to assume you're going to spend the higher number, but if we continue doing what we're doing over the next, year or two, we're probably going to have to put a little more in up front to get the fleet in a little bit better situation. Okay, next we have the solid waste fee scenario. So last time we talked about this, and I believe Lisa brought this up at the last meeting, I'd come up with a number that was like $25, $26 per household, but those insurance premium, workers' compensation numbers were not included in that. So Kathy and Jason actually helped get all those numbers together. And so we've included that in this total. We also included an estimate for third-party billing. So it includes a one-time setup fee and an annual software fee that the city would pay. I did reach out to OpenGov, and I haven't heard back yet to see if they have something that would be available to help out with that. So that's an unknown. This was just based on searching nationally, kind of what the ranges are. And I actually estimated a little bit on the lower end of the ranges, not the lowest, because it's not the most complex billing service, the service that you bill for. And we're a small-ish community, not huge. So that number comes out to $33.87 per resident per month. I should say also included in the additional staff, that's like one additional driver and one admin to kind of help. Trash is what we get the most calls on, period. If we were to continue doing the service and implement a fee, the calls are gonna, it's a full-time thing, probably, I think. So that's what that number comes from. Then on to privatization. So this is kind of an overview of what we've talked about the last couple times. I've just pared it down to responder A and B, and these costs at the top 4 rows there, that's cost to the city, depending on whether you do biweekly or weekly recycling. The listed cost per resident is what they're charging the city per resident. It's not what they would charge the resident if we built them. Those amounts are slightly higher, and I can pull those up in a minute if you need to see them. So, I mean, obviously, if this is the route we choose to go, we still have some decisions to make in terms of which option we would go with, but the lowest of those 4 listed is, biweekly from responder A at $2.425 million per year. Possible savings that we might see, we'd have a one-time saving of getting rid of our fleet, or most of our fleet. That range that's listed there is based on responder B actually gave us a quote, as we talked about before, of 1.4-ish million to purchase all of our vehicles. If we were to keep a few, we think it'd be closer to maybe like 1 million-ish. So that's what that range is there. Another possible savings over time, which we've talked about, if we go this route, we're not letting anybody go, but if over time you guys decide to lower staffing levels through attrition, looking at just the solid waste staffing, it's approximately $75 $76,000 per full-time person per year. Okay? So, the costs associated with that, you've got your annual costs, your staffing costs, and your one-time fleet management or fleet sales savings. So year one, you're looking at 2.7 to 3 million, and years 2 and above, you're looking at 4 to 4.3 million if the city pays the bill. So the biggest, well, the difference between year one and year 2 plus is obviously the fleet purchase price goes away, right? That's a one-time thing. There's also, both responders included a scheduled increase annually, so that's included in there, as well as just general, like, staffing costs going up. Yes. So, all those numbers in one table, hopefully. I was trying to make this, I really struggled with, and I think this has been the problem with our previous conversations, is it's really hard to talk about these things and compare them because they're not identical services, right? So I did my best to come up with the monthly equivalent or actual cost of the resident and the annual cost of the city for all three services. I know there's 4 listed there, but that's just the difference between biweekly and weekly for privatization. Does this table make sense? Okay. So that is essentially my presentation tonight. What kinds of thoughts, questions, ideas, concerns do you guys have? Or recommendations?
So on this page here, in the fee scenario, if
Yes.
we pass that on to the public, that is a weekly recycle?
Yes, yes. The fee that I came up with was for overall kind of improving our services, getting back to a weekly pickup. Yeah, yes.
The 3387, correct?
The $33.87 a month, yes.
Does that include, just made a note on that, I was gonna ask you, I didn't want to interrupt you.
It's okay.
So the solid waste fee scenario, does that include, that 3387, does that include any funding for capital projects?
It includes funding, let me go back to it.
Like, are we estimating buying new trucks?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
So all the costs listed in this table are incorporated in that $33.87 a month. So it's meant to cover all solid waste services in its entirety.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Put it back on the table.
Actually, no, I don't. I was just thinking out loud in my face. I apologize.
Well, on Commissioner Richardson's question, so in that solid waste fee scenario, we're just averaging it. We're assuming we're going to purchase the truck and a half a year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Some years 1, some years 2. Okay. And then on the privatization scenario, pay for service, maintain staffing, that's assuming, the staffing cost, 1.4 million, that's assuming we keep everybody on the city
Correct.
payroll and nobody goes to
Correct, yes, yes. That 2.66 to 2.954, that assumes that we pay the bill, we sell all or most of our fleet, and that staffing levels are maintained at 100% of what they are right now.
And so the private company would hire all new people,
Correct.
which is that's unlikely.
Right.
We're going to have some of that, so that's
I'm
our
sure.
worst case on
I
staffing
did go
costs.
through, if you guys are interested, and kind of look at, just like, say we did this, and during the course of all of this happening, 3 of our employees left. That would be approximately $227,500 that year that we would not be spending. Okay, and then let's say on kind of the other end of things, let's say almost everybody leaves, because we have 3 Tier 1 employees, which probably would go nowhere, and 2 Tier 2 employees. But let's say 5 or 6 people stayed and everybody else chose to leave. You're looking at $758,000 in personnel costs if you don't rehire those positions. Yeah, so it's,
Say
you
it
know.
one more time. I was still stuck on the 220.
No, it's okay. So if you look at the total personnel costs in solid waste and divide it by 19, just pretend everyone makes exactly the same, it's $75,827 per person per year that we're spending. If 10 of those people decide to part from the city on their own, $758,000 that year that you're not spending in personnel costs. Does that make sense? Okay.
So in the year one cost comparison, in that scenario, it's going to be, it's going to look even better by $750,000 or whatever that is.
I'm saying, yeah.
$750,000.
Yeah. If 10 people were to say, peace.
And we would still have 9 people working within the city on other things now. So we've
Correct.
bolstered so in that first year, we're saving money. And we've also have 9 more people helping out in other capacities, streets,
And that was my thing.
beautification.
Well, and do we not have other, I mean, I know we hire, like, other work that we hire for, even if it's seasonal work, it's work that can be done throughout the city, people that we already have. So there is maybe a savings somewhat, it's just not actually in your department.
Correct, yeah. I mean, yeah, how the employees,
that,
yes, how the employees that stay on are utilized is, a discussion to be had. I've certainly thought about it a lot, but.
Commissioner May?
For my clarification, the
Yes.
3387 under the solid waste fee scenario,
Yes,
we're only talking about, we're talking about trash and recycling,
correct,
just
yes.
that.
We would
Includes-
still have our.
We wouldn't do yard waste, we wouldn't do
Well,
bulk.
we
or will
currently
they do
do
that?
those services now, so
Yeah.
my thought process is that we would continue to do those.
Okay.
And probably do them the same way we're doing now, like scheduled and, but yes, that would include, bulky item, yard waste scheduled, was my thought process.
Okay. It does include it in the 3387.
I would think so,
Okay.
yes. I wouldn't anticipate doing away with that if we're doing it now.
Right.
All of that effort and all of the personnel costs and the equipment costs associated with that are currently included in our budget, so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner?
Okay, freshman cap on.
Yes.
And these daggone tiers that y'all be talking about, tier 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
And me and Jason just talked about this, don't be mad at me. Tier 1, 2, and 3, how many employees are tier 1? Or also, we could do this another day. but
That's
I'm
okay.
just-
In solid waste, we have 3 tier 1 employees.
And that's like the tier, right? Like, that's the one that
I mean,
you're
it
like
depends on
locked
who
in.
you
you're-
ask, but I believe,
Oh,
yes.
okay, got it.
Yes.
2 tier 2.
2 tier 2s and the remainder
Okay.
tier
Out of
3.
18
Out of
people?
18 or, I think, we're at 17 or 18, yeah.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
No problem. And,
Commissioner?
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Back to the tier employees. Of course, anybody at any time is welcome to pursue whatever
Right.
employment they wish. I would be shocked if your tier 1 or even tier 2 employees chose to leave. I might be wrong about the tier 2s, but the tier 3 employees, knowing what I know about some of the staff members, I think there's even a handful of them that really value being at the city because of the type of work we do and because of some of the benefits of being here. So I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think more than half, probably not even that many, would be actively looking to go. But I don't know what might be offered to them, so, I could be completely wrong, but, yes, sorry.
Well, it's $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, you don't know. I can tell you, I would say your tier 2 and 1, they're not gonna go anywhere. And it would come down to whatever the individual, private industry has benefits that government work does not.
Sure.
You just
And
have to
vice
weigh
versa.
that, right? I guess my question, Mayor, would be to the board was, I think we're looking at, and I'm assuming from this report, we're looking at a couple different topics here. One being do we privatize it and pay for it? Or do we keep it in-house and do we charge for it? I think those are the discussions that we need to have, because I think they're different topics, right? Whether even if we privatize and pay for it, or so I guess the thing is, are we going to charge for this service? Or are we going to keep like we have it and pay to privatize it? Or obviously, you've given us numbers, if we do nothing and stay where we're at.
Yes.
Quite frankly, the do-nothing scenario, probably the one thing that I've pointed out, wrote a note, if we do nothing, if we just keep it, we drop it, okay, hey, this was, not that we wasted our time.
No.
But we have to have new trucks.
Mm-hmm.
That we know that, and we kind of know what they're gonna cost. So I think we're to the point of those two issues. Are we charging for it, or are we
Yeah. And
paying for it?
when I was putting this together, originally I wasn't even going to include the do nothing. And then I crunched the numbers and thought, no, I need to put that in there for comparison purposes, just to see that it's not actually that far off from some of the other things we're talking about in terms of overall cost, whether that cost is paid by the individual or by the city. It's not wildly different. So I thought it was worth having it in there for comparison
I think
purposes.
it's a good thing. I can tell you that charging for it it's a big decision, because now all of a sudden we've went from not charging, and I think Commissioner Smith-Wells said it, $30-something a month, $33.87 may not seem like a lot, but that's a lot of money, for a lot of people. The reason I brought this up in the first place was obviously sustainability, and we've got to do something. I know there's communities around us that don't pay for the garbage, but, and maybe it's down the road we look into this, but, I'm just looking to save money, to use city money for different ventures that we have going on that we know in the near future, without tapping into our reserves and looking at our revenue stream over the next, I know we're going to grow. I know we have some big things on the horizon, but I don't count my chickens before they're hatched. And I'm just going to base on this budget we have now, which I think we're doing great. I just don't want to I think this is a way that I want the community to know. The reason I looked into this was we could save a little bit of, $500,000 may not seem like a lot of money to people when it comes to our budget, but that's a lot of money when it comes to things that we're trying to do within the community. And I don't even want to go through the list of things that are out there.
Certainly.
Commissioner.
I also just want to kind of echo that. When I look at this 3387, let me back up. When we approached this conversation, it was because I feel like, to our core values, transparency is key. And I feel like, once again, I'm doing a disservice if I'm not exploring all the options that the city has in front of us. Second part, 3387, as a single mom sitting up here, I'm looking at this from all perspectives. So to Commissioner Richardson's point, what we decide up here, we also take on as citizens of Frankfort.
Correct.
So I just also wanted to say thank you for trying to clarify all the parts of this. But in terms of the community and what works best for them, but still while saving money and being sustainable for future generations, I'm not going to be here forever. But when Milo turns 18 and he decides to have a starch department, what does trash service look like? Is it convenient, or is it still where we're at right now? So I do want to keep the fleets up to date. I don't want to have to keep coming into these pickles that we're in and do we do a truck or do we stop recycling for a certain, so I just kind of wanted to publicly say that, because I feel like it's important that we're exploring this option. But currently, right now, a few things look best for me, but I'm also reflecting on it as a citizen as well. So I just want to say thank you for providing this information. No problem.
Commissioner May.
As we continue talking about what route we want to go, are there communities that could we pay part of it and then pass the rest of it on? Like, what if we just put in our budget, we're going to write a check for $1 million to company A or company B?
Yes.
And cover that 3.6 or cover that, and then the rest of it, so we could bring, if we go fee route, if that's what we choose, we could cut the fee down.
We could.
And still save
We could.
us
That, yes,
money at
that
the same time.
3387 is assuming that the fee the resident pays 100%
Right.
all of the solid waste services. If you guys want to look at a shared approach, that can happen. We can also do that with the privatization. I mean, they did quote us rates that they would charge if they build the individual residents, which, like, the $18.99 is actually $19.99 if they bill it directly to the citizen. So, I mean, but there's room there too. I mean, we could, like I said, the contract, if we choose to go this route, is not yet written. So we can explore, yes, there can be a sharing of costs if that's what the commission wants to do. Yeah.
I'm curious about logistically how difficult or easy that is. I mean, is it truly, that quote is not going to waver from, if we go with what we see up here, what would make it change the final? Is there anything they can do in the contracts that say, well, that's a pretty hard estimate, but we may come back at the year and say we need a little bit more? Or will that be an easy thing for the city to take on? In my mind, I don't like splitting up bills and like, you pay some of this and you pay some of that. I feel like it's a logistical nightmare. I could be completely wrong.
I suspect, having not talked to the responding companies, since they gave us the rates that they would charge an individual residence, they're building into that quote their inconvenience, right? Their work, their potential losses from bills unpaid, et cetera. I suspect if we went to them and said, hey, we want to go kind of a hybrid route, we're gonna pay $1 million and you're gonna bill the customer for the remainder, I suspect they would just do the math and lower the customer rate and be done. I haven't asked them that specifically, but they've already given us quotes to do the billing and the collecting.
Okay.
So they've already considered that an option. And us paying, say, $1 million is just one more bill. It's not 10,000.
Right, fair.
Right.
Yep.
So
Okay. Thank you.
I suspect that's not a big deal.
Okay.
So it's privatize or not? And then that's the first question, and now we're on the clock for that because we have a couple of proposals out there that have the
Correct.
time, the deadline. And then it's, do we charge for it or not once we've made that first decision? And I think my worry if we privatize is there could be a drop off in service. I'm sure there's residents who've had we've skipped them on a trash week, or we picked up their trash can or something, who would, they would probably say that, there's always going to be people that complain about some part of what we provide. But I do think, though, that, there is something about, if it's city provided, it's hard for a private company to care as much about
Sure.
the community.
They don't have the same pride
as
in
we do. And I think I worry about that drop-off, potential drop-off. I understand, financially it makes sense to privatize. I get it. And that's my only concern is the drop-off. On that, whether we charge for it or not, personally, I'd rather not. I think, we charge a property tax, but an occupational tax, I think, within the money that we raise from those, that's what we need to provide all of these services for. But on the other hand, I realize that just every other community outside of Franklin County in the state charges some type of fee for this, whether they do it in-house or it's charged by a private company. So I realize we're an anomaly here in the state. But I just like the fact that we do it here in Frankfort and Franklin County. It's a service. Perhaps we don't get the credit for it that we deserve in the community, because it is something when people, they're quick to compare us to other communities and wonder why they have this or why their tax rates are this. But this is something you're not paying for in Frankfort and Franklin County.
Correct.
So that's for me where, we don't have to make a decision tonight, but that's where my thinking on it right now, Commissioner.
I left my other notebook at home. I wrote it down, I swear. What day, what's our deadline, and then when do we have a Public Works and Infrastructure Committee meeting? Is that going to be before the deadline or after? And I'm saying that to say because I would love
I don't have my calendar
citizen
on me.
feedback as
Jason
well.
can check
I'm
on the
trying to
meeting.
look, it's not on my calendar for some reason.
I think
It's
the
this
Public
month.
Works and
60 days.
Infrastructure Committee meeting will be in March, I
March.
believe. We opened bids on January 6th.
And we had 90
And we have
days.
up to 90 days. They have to honor their quotes for 90 days.
So we're pushing it to continue conversation at this point now, is what it seems like.
March, okay.
Okay.
March 17th is the Public Works Infrastructure, okay.
Yes, Commissioner Richard.
I just want to add on, Mayor, what you were saying, and I completely agree with the mayor. I think we do a great job with our sanitation pickup. I do. Very unique to our community. But part of it is, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, and this is probably not popular, you know, I get beat up constantly for decisions and things that we don't have. I'm going to bring a topic up, is a swimming pool. So I'm going to just look at Amber in the back is if we charged, and I'm going to go, if we went privatization, meaning the best bang for the buck, and the individual paid $18.90, that's I'm going on your numbers, $2.6 million back in our budget. That would help on a bond payment for a swimming pool. Am I correct on that?
You are correct.
So part of it is, I would advise the community to get involved on things we do, because the mayor made a good point. We don't get a lot. I realize everyone's garbage needs picked up, and it's done great, but we get ridiculed for things we don't have.
Right.
And the bottom line is, there's only so much money to go around.
Correct.
So I wish it was different. I want a swimming pool. I want 2 swimming pools. I'd love to have a pool in my house. But my point being is, you gotta pay the bills.
Correct.
And the bills are public safety. We've gotta provide city hall. We have to pay these bills. I get so, I'm really passionate about this. And I would, call me. I can explain to you our budget. Maybe not as well as Amber, but I'm versed enough on it that I want to do what's best for the entire community, and that's what I'm thinking about when I'm sitting up here. Again, I'm still indifferent about all this. I like all this information I got, because I gotta go home and digest it a little bit. But again, I'm with the mayor. We don't get a lot of credit for times the things that we do, but we do a good job on sanitation pickup.
I agree.
But sometimes we've got to choose where that money's got to go. So again, sorry, I get all excited up here.
We
I'm
talked
good,
this one
I'm
out?
good.
We're good for now?
Yeah.
Is that 3 meetings in a row now? We're gonna maybe we'll see on the 4th, maybe?
3 meetings in a row.
We'll tentatively look at this for the voting meeting? I don't know, is that too soon?
Can I say
Do you have
can I say
something?
one more thing?
Yes.
Sorry, I know we've been talking about this, but I just really appreciate the intentionality behind the conversation, and none of us are being hasty. I think we've kind of all bothered each other about it. I go home and I'd like cry about some stuff. I'm like, Mom, am I making the right decision? Like, because I mean, I want everybody to be well represented, but I do appreciate the intentionality, the follow-ups with from the ask that we're asking, from the questions, you giving us the information back, and I appreciate the non-hastiness of this decision. So I just really wanted to say that, because I feel like we don't get, I know we get a lot of public criticism, but I think right now with this being a 3rd conversation, it feels good to be able to have this. So thank you all.
No problem.
So the quotes that we have right now, what was the deadline on that? Was it the 23rd or the
90 days would be the first weekend
Of March.
April.
Oh.
February, March, April.
So we got it-
Yeah,
we
so
got a
it would
little
get
bit.
us through the March regular meeting, yeah.
So maybe
At
not
latest.
February voting meeting if we're not ready.
Let's do the very last
But-
voting meeting that we have.
We'll see if there's a Public Works Committee that
Because I
can.
agree, this is not, and a lot of you lived through the $10, right? The $10. I mean, it's a big deal. And I won't lie, I was a little frustrated myself. But here's what I've done since I've sat in this seat. I've learned more about sanitation than I ever thought I would.
Or that you thought was out there to know.
I did. I didn't realize what went into this.
Yeah.
I have talked to Owensboro, Richmond. I've talked to more cities than I care to know. So I'm challenging our public. Go out and talk to people, because I'll be honest with you, when I tell people how we do it, they're like, wow. Wow. You are so lucky, right? You must have a revenue stream that's unlimited. And that's not the case. So I'm glad we're taking our time on this, because I do think it's very important. And I don't want anyone to think out there that all 5 of us, all of us in this room are taking it serious, even yourself, I know. So again, I remember the $10 pay for your Herbie thing that everybody was, and I didn't know what I didn't know, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So we're looking at take this to Public Works Committee and look at the March voting meeting is kind of.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think that's a really good, I feel like, yeah, as long as we have time, I would like to dive a little bit deeper, especially in that committee.
All right, that's the end of discussion. We'll move to action items. We have a first reading, an ordinance that's seeking a sponsor.
Sponsor.
Richardson.
An ordinance amending sections 52.01, 02, and 04 of the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances regarding sewer service provision and fees. This ordinance amends sections 52.01, 02, and 04 to establish a requirement for capacity review of all new requests for sewer service over 400 gallons a day, require a capacity review fee of $500 for properties located outside the city limits, which is refundable upon successful annexation, require those properties outside of the city limits that share a boundary with these limits to request voluntary annexation into the city prior to receiving sewer service or sewer service improvements, establish new administrative fees based on number of water meters installed for properties located outside the city limits and connecting to city sewer, establish new sewer rates for customers inside Franklin County but outside the city limits at an additional 10% above the base rate, and customers outside of Franklin County at an additional 15% on top of the base rate.
Any discussion on the ordinance regarding sewer service provision and fees? Commissioner Smith-Willis?
I am going to maybe beat some money to it or go on the limb. To what extent have we like in-depth meat and potatoes with the county about this conversation? Hi, Kimmy.
Very little.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Going back to our core values, transparency, all the things. One of my first requests, and this is gonna be like, I'm probably gonna get slaughtered on Facebook, but one of my first requests when I got elected was, there are a couple of topics that I feel like the city and county should really sit down together and have a conversation, of course, publicly. But this is one of those really big, hefty topics that I feel like if we're not having those consistent conversations behind, I do feel like maybe this is something that we need to kind of keep diving into conversations on. But I do think that it's genuinely important. I do feel like, especially with capacity and what we decide to keep taking on as a city, it does need to be fair and equitable. I just didn't know how far we've talked with the county on this, for us to be able to meet in the middle on conversation and what annexation actually looks like.
Actually, what we had looked at mostly was the benefits of the $180 million that we're spending on these capital improvement projects. There's not very many, there's not that many parcels left in the city to be developed. Very few, actually, that do not have sewer. So the benefit that's going to happen is economic development will be pushed more into the county. And in order, we've already got the boundaries that we have sewers and there's no, they're still in the county. So we're spending a lot of money to have that extra capacity. And city leadership said county needs to pay their fair share. And it's, if you look at our county customers compared to our city customers, we have much more city customers, which is why we can look at this and say, okay, our county customers are going to be a very small amount, which is why we looked at the it's a tiered. So we have a 10% increase for county residents and a 15% for out-of-county residents, because we also serve Woodford County as well.
Commissioner Richardson?
We're not forcing any annexation with this, correct?
No.
I want to make that clear. I think when this is being read, it may come across we're forcing that. We're not forcing that.
Correct.
Obviously, I'm partial to annexation, I won't lie, but we're by no means forcing that.
We have went over this ordinance, forwards and backwards. The best way, and I kind of used the same one with Jason when we explained it, if someone wants to build a 200 unit housing development in the county, but it's going to require city sewers. Instead of, if they cannot annex into the city, then they would pay the same as a tap fee, which would be $200,000 as a administrative fee to the city, so that it allows the city to collect fees as well, instead of just paying our standard tap fee. So it allows the city to gain that revenue that they would lose from, foreseeable tax benefits over the next, whoever knows how long.
Well, and I would add that we do a lot of work when it comes to work developments that are in the county. I'm just
Correct.
talking from the easements, from work that Laura does and all that. Am I
Yes,
correct on that?
yes.
Yeah, so it's not like, it's an arbitrary number we came up with that the city, because the budgets are separate, sewer
Correct.
budget is separate from our general fund. A lot of people don't realize that. I just think that, I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that we do not collect any taxes at all, zero.
Yes. And
Sewer
that's
department
important
is
because you're right.
self-funded.
A lot of people don't know that.
Right, we are 100% self-funded by our sewer fees, and that's it.
And this ordinance kind of mirrors that if I understand correctly, other cities our size, what they've been doing all along with municipalities that own their sewer
It even
system.
mirrors the plant board's current
Okay.
rate structure.
And similar to our discussion earlier, that's something that hadn't been updated since, let's say, 93, 95, and this,
Right.
we're updating something that was put in place in 91, or that
Correct.
expired in 90. No,
Yes.
it was put in place in 91, expired in 2001, so it's just it's part of a trend of modernizing our city operations, and it's bringing everything up to date, and as Commissioner May said, it's all these little things that we're plugging. And to Commissioner Smith Willis's point, as far as the benefit to the county on this is future expansion and future property taxes that without sewer otherwise would not get.
Correct.
I will say, I have had some internal discussions with the county. When we've brought this up months and months ago about an increased fee on county residents and things of that nature. And it has been brought up.
Any other discussion, Commissioner Smith Willis? It's a work session. This is where we talk it out and get it out there.
I guess,
And
sorry.
am I right to assume, I'm just spitballing here, Kenny, because we've talked and I've been involved a little bit, but a new development that decides they want to annex, and then there are customers in the next to them, it could benefit them would they go from a septic system to our sewer system. I've had friends of mine that have said they would be willing to pay, now they live way out in the county,
Yes.
but they would be willing to pay city taxes if they're, because they deal with their septic system quite a bit, is what I'm saying. So it is going to be a benefit. This is actually not just like the mayor's saying, we're updating something, but we're also that growth and trying to help the community as a whole when it comes to sewer, because we do have portions of our community that really need help when it
Right.
comes to sewer.
Yes.
So.
Well, this is the first reading. If no other discussion, we'll look at putting this on the voting meeting.
Yeah.
Second reading.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
All right, discuss, speaking of next meeting, the sewer ordinance,
Parks Committee.
Parks Committee, consent calendar. Anything else that I missed? And there's no unfinished business from the previous meeting. Is there any new business that could come for the good of the board? Commissioner Smith Willis?
I just first wanted to just say Happy Black History Month. There's that. And with that, I've been reflecting on my year being a city commissioner and also just being a citizen of Frankfort. And I really just wanted to first thank the city of Frankfort and the city staff since 2021, since the city of Frankfort had acknowledged Juneteenth. So now that I've been in my seat for a little bit and I've kind of done my research and I've observed what other cities are doing around us, I would like to formally kind of begin a broader conversation about how we as a city can intentionally recognize and celebrate Juneteenth moving forward. Juneteenth, when we look at America 250, Black history is American history. So Juneteenth is not just simply an event for people in Frankfort, but it's just traditionally observed and it's celebrated. And I think it's a moment in American history that speaks to freedom. So, this conversation would lead to potentially landing on a future voting meeting. I'm not going to push it, honestly, but I just want to start the conversation to determine the city of Frankfort's commitment, scope, and approach to observing Juneteenth in a way that's just thoughtful, educational, and reflective of our community and our values. So I guess I'm requesting the board's approval to kind of work collaboratively with the city staff to explore meaningful ways in Frankfort that we can observe Juneteenth. And if it is approved and everybody's cool with it, I would also like to just be a part of that conversation to make sure that it's like intentionally done. I've been to some really cool events that Focus on Race Relations has done here locally, but I've been around to surrounding communities, and I think we could really make this something we're celebrating as the city of Frankfort and as the capital of Kentucky. So that is my first order of new business. I have a second one. I personally want to give a shout out to Christy Poe and Roni Robinson. You know, after the incident at Kentucky State University, I feel like it gained so much attention, but I think we forgot about the students that were at school that day. So I work collaboratively with Christy Poe and Roni Robinson, who are two really pivotal people in our community that do a lot of work that goes kind of unsung and unnoticed. So we just went up to the university and we fed the kids. I want to give a shout out to a lot of the local businesses here in Frankfort that contributed food for this event. But with that being said, I just want to give them their flowers because they are absolutely phenomenal members of our community. But with that talking point of Kentucky State University, I kind of wanted to recommend the establishment of a Kentucky State University and City of Frankfort partnership committee. You know, we talked about the Parks Committee tonight and how some of the really important work that comes out of our committees kind of drives our city. So, you know, I feel like our relationship with Kentucky State University is an ongoing mechanism of strength and communication and coordination between the city and the school itself. So the committee itself will serve as a consistent home for shared dialogue, allowing both entities to engage proactively while maintaining effective collaboration. I think a key function of this committee itself will be to jointly oversee and fully leverage the city and university's shared membership with the International Town Gown Association. If you're not familiar with that, that is a membership that we do share with this Kentucky State University. But I think the membership would be most effective when approached intentionally and collectively, which I feel like as a citizen, as a student of Kentucky State University, I have not seen done so far. So while I have my seat, I want to hold myself accountable with just regular alignment with priorities, develop shared vision, and advanced best practices with campus and the students. So I just feel like establishing this committee will affirm a long-term commitment, transparency, and alignment. But then also I think it would be cool to bring the students in. I met some really awesome kids. I met the first president of SGA. And I think this committee could be made up of beyond administration, beyond us that sit up here, but also just the students themselves. And I feel like they sound excited, and I'm excited too. So I would really like to start directing staff, or however that process looks like, to establish a committee for not just us, but Kentucky State University. That's my long spiel. Thank you for listening to me yap.
No, thank you, and maybe work session on that, because I think you sent out a proposed draft?
I did
Proposed
loosely
draft.
work on an order. I called Laura because I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, but she definitely walked me through it. I think the order is pretty structured and it's good to go. I would like the committee itself to have one or two representatives that kind of focuses on the 4 core values that International Town Gown is encompassed around. But outside of those 2 people, you know, of course, with city manager or a designee, I think public safety should be at the table with not just our city safety, but the university itself. So we're all kind of aligned, not just when things go awry, but when things are going positively as well. So I think the committee itself could be made up of some really awesome individuals that can have constructive conversation moving forward.
Thank you. Any other new business? Board comments? I want to give a shout out to our public works and streets and sanitation, everybody that helped clear what we did last couple of weeks. I know it's been hard on a lot of people, but I think Frankfort has fared relatively well. And thank you.
Sure. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. We're adjourned.